Today we're going to be talking about the Praxis mechanical mod. Hot damn! This baby right here, she hits harder than a whore on horny pills. Voltage drop for this device is 0.02. Lowest that I've seen, lowest that I've dealt with ever. And right now I've got a Vertex, this Vertex version 2 RDA sitting on this Praxis with a 0.9 ohm build using 26 gauge Canthal. The voltage drop under load is 0.08. That's right, 0.08. What the fart is going on here? And just for tits and giggles, what I did was I put a 0.25 ohm build in this Vertex version 2, stuck it on this Praxis, and I tested the voltage drop under load, and it was 0.25. 0.25 voltage drop under load with a 0.25 ohm build in this Vertex. Whoa is all I got to say. I mean, that definitely rivals the Pegasus. First stainless steel mod that I've dealt with that does that competes with a copper or a brass mod. Wow. Now before we move any further into this review, I want to go over the price point for this mechanical mod. Retail, this thing sells for 130 bucks. And 130 bucks for a mechanical mod, to me, with innovative features like this, which we'll get into, I think is a good price. So yeah, just like I mentioned, I got this Vertex version 2 sitting on this Praxis with a 0.9 ohm build, and you guys just saw it. Holy freaking cannoli, does she chuck. Chuck certified. Obviously, that all depends on the device you have on the mechanical mod, but a 0.9 ohm build and it's chucking like that, it's firing like that, crazy. Spec time. First, this thing is an 18650 mod and is the smallest 18650 mod that I've ever seen, ever dealt with, ever used. I mean, it's only 80 millimeters in length or 3 3/4 inches tall. Oh yeah, and this thing is a 22 millimeter mech mod. Any 22 millimeter tank, RDA, RDTA, etc. sits and fits flush on this device. And looks the tits. The top cap is made of brass, and then parts of the firing switch, the dual action bottom switch, is also made of brass with Delrin, and then the rest of this device is 303 grade stainless steel. Now the performance. Okay, I already went over the performance, but I'll go over it again. Battery's not even fully charged, it's like halfway charged. I vaped all the way down to 0.25 on this thing, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, and I mean, the lower you go, the harder this sucker hits. Obviously, it's crazy. I mean, you could vape 1 ohm in an RDA and get a satisfying vape, and I can't say that for, I would say, 98, 99% of mech mods out there. Not the ones that I've used anyways. This one, you could do that. But the guys that are watching this are you cloud chasers, most of you guys. You want to see these mech mods that hit like thunderbolts. And this one does it, man. And like I said, this stainless steel Praxis hits just as hard as the copper Pegasus that I raved about a while back. Just as hard as that, just as hard as any other brass mechanical mod that I've used. And guess what? I got a brass one of these coming. A brass Praxis, I cannot wait. If this thing hits this hard, can you imagine what the brass is going to hit like? For you junkies out there, you mechanical mod junkies, you're going to like this. This is a treat. So let me tell you why it hits so hard, okay? One, it's got a brass hybrid top cap, which means you've got ADDI to battery connection. ADDI to battery connection, straight on. That's the battery you see right there, the top of the battery, okay? And then two, there's no threads down here. The less threads you have, the less the voltage drop. So that dual action switch at the bottom, it sits down in there and it clicks into place. And in order to slide it in there or install it, it goes in through the top of the barrel. Okay, let me show you. Okay, I'm gonna take the battery out. Okay, so this switch, you push it in and then you press it up. See how it goes up in there like that? You just push it up through your finger, with your finger, and then you take something like a pin or something like that, and then you push it up to the top. Okay, you just press in as you push it up, and it pops out just like that. Okay, now in order to install it back in there, I'm gonna show you guys in the close-ups how to do it, just so it's more clear to you. But yeah, to install it, I'm gonna go ahead, pop it in from the top, press it in, make sure it's lined up. All the parts are even. Okay, just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my battery in and it'll pop it into place. Boom. Innovative, innovative compared to some of these most other mechanical mods that I've dealt with. Haven't seen anything like this switch, and with the Hybrid S top cap. I haven't dealt with any mechanical mods, just regular mechanical mods that have something like this, and that's big, man. Big. ADDI to battery connection is huge, and that's why this thing hits so damn hard. Back to the top cap, and I will show you guys this in the close-ups, but you have vent holes. You got 3 3 vent holes that sit on the top cap, and then you got 4 grooves at the top of the barrel to allow for battery venting. The 510 threads on that hybrid top cap have been compatible with all my devices, all my RDAs, RTAs, RDTAs, etc. Every device that I screw this onto, it sits down, it sits flush, and makes connection. And it does that because of that hybrid top cap. Okay, it's only got 3 threads, but there's more threads in the barrel itself. So when you screw it in, you can either screw the top cap on your device first and then screw it into the mod, or you could screw the hybrid top cap onto the mod first and then screw it in, and it's going to adjust and make a connection and set flush every time. Every device that I've used has set flush, has been flushed. Oh yeah, sick as tits looking, sick as tits! Machining for this device is above average. I would rate it about a 7.5 out of a 10, and most of these other devices, these high-end devices that I'm receiving on a daily basis, are about a 7.5 out of 10. I mean, they're good, really good machining, really good quality control. When I received this, there was no burrs on the threads, no scratches on the tube, definitely above average, and average to me is about 6.5 out of 10. Like I said, this is 7.5 out of 10. Now, there are 2 subjective cons that I came up with for this device. One, the switch, the dual action switch. It takes time to get used to. When I first received this, it took me a whole day to get used to it. It's nothing like anything else that I've used, not like any other mechanical mod. This is definitely one of the more harder switches to use because it's just different. You got to push it over and then in. You got to find your happy medium. You got to, whichever way you hold in your hand, I mean, you may have to switch it up. If you're a mechanical mod junkie out there and you've got tons of mechanical mods, you're used to bottom switches the way that most of them are, get ready because this is totally different. It'll take a while to get used to, but just bear with it because you will get used to it. It fires up every time. You just got to know how to use it. I do want to mention that as a con though, even though it's subjective, because some of you guys out there, you may get it and you be like, screw this. Who knows? I don't know. It's all subjective. Everything's subjective. What you may like, I may not like. What I may like, you may not like. But I can tell you, it was a pain in the ass for me for the first day. But when you get used to it, you like it. It's funny how the mind works. You get conditioned to things. I do want to mention this about the dual action switch. Because it takes effort to use, you never have to worry about this thing firing on its own. That's good. Now the other subjective con is that this is a mechanical mod and you have to switch out batteries more often, okay? More often than if you're using a regulated device. To me, it's a pain in the ass. I don't like carrying around 4 or 5 different batteries if I'm out and about. Just don't like it. Hey, guess what? Let's go ahead and dive down. I'm going to show you guys this product all broken down, then we'll come back and wrap her up, and I'll tell you where you can get one of these. Here is the Praxis mechanical mod. You've got this hybrid style top cap, you got the firing button, and then you've got the barrel. So here's the stainless steel barrel for the Praxis. Okay, up top, you've got these grooves. See these grooves? Those grooves are for battery venting, which we'll get into. You've got the threads up top for the hybrid style top cap, which I'll show you guys in a second. And then at the base, you've got this little groove. Now you notice something different. No threads down here. No threads. Okay, this is for the bottom switch assembly. I'll show you guys how to insert that bad boy as well. Here is the inside of this tube. Threads are smooth. And this groove right here down at the base matches with the groove in the bottom switch. Now here's the dual action bottom switch. I call it a dual action for one reason, okay? Well, for 2 reasons. You slide it in and then you push it, and that's how it works. This portion is made of brass. This is stainless steel. You've got this Delrin insulator. This switch does not come apart, guys. Okay, got this MXJO, and how this works is, imagine this battery sitting in the tube. It would be touching the top of that insulator, that Delrin insulator, on the dual action bottom switch. We're about to fire it. Push this switch in, and then you push her in, and it pushes that Delrin insulator down, and then that pin in the middle makes contact with the battery, and that's exactly how it works. Another up close of this dual action bottom switch. Praxis Vapors, the guys that manufacture this bad boy. Again, this thing presses in. It's got a little groove over here for your thumb too. Presses in, and then when you press in, that Delrin pushes down, or is able to push down to make contact with that brass pin. Alright, so the next step is we're going to install this bottom switch, this dual action bottom switch, into this barrel. You got to match it up just like that, but you cannot insert this bottom switch into the base. You got to insert it from the top. You see that groove, that rounded groove? You line it up with the rounded groove on the switch. You press the switch in, line it up, boom. And then what I like to do once I have it in there is I use my battery. Push the battery in, locks into place, and that is how to install your bottom switch, your dual action bottom switch. Here's the hybrid top cap. Now you notice the top is a little bit aged. When I first received it, it looked just like this. The bottom, which is squeaky clean. Okay, with brass, you got to make sure you clean it often. This is only a week's use. I've already cleaned it once, so I've noticed that I've had to clean this thing once a week to make sure that it hits as hard every time. This sucker hits like a dream, man, let me tell you. But you got to make sure the threads, you got to clean them. You got to clean them often. I would say, yep, once a week, you're good to go. Look how skinny that hybrid top cap is, man. Woo-wee, skinny. You got these notches up top, and then you got the holes up top. And the notches allow me, well, it helps me screw this sucker into the barrel. It helps me get my nail in there. But you got these 3 holes for battery venting. Again, here's the base. And let me show you how I install this sucker. Got my bottom switch down in there, my dual action bottom switch all assembled and all installed. Got the battery in this barrel. Make sure that you got those notches facing up. That's the top of the top cap or hybrid top cap. Get my fingernail, well, my finger on those grooves as a grip. You can adjust it up or adjust it down, talking about the top cap. Got my Addy. Today I'm going to be using this Vertex version 2. Watch how hard this sucker hits. You press it in, push it in. That's why they call it a dual action bottom switch, because as you simultaneously slide it in, you push it in. And then it becomes one smooth motion as you get used to it. Another way to screw your RDA onto this device, and I find this way to be even easier, is just to go ahead and screw your hybrid top cap into the RDA first. Then I screw her into the Praxis. Oh yeah, every time. I mean, she is flourish. Here's another quick view for you. Hybrid top cap. Bottom switch. And then at the base, as you guys saw, it says Praxis Vapors, the guys that manufacture this bad boy. So yeah, that is the Praxis mechanical mod. Let's go ahead and take her back to FaceTime. So that is the Praxis mechanical mod. Like I mentioned, this thing is 130 bucks retail. Where can you get this sucker? The company I received this Praxis from was a company by the name of Epic Vape. EpicVape.com. I'll have a link in the description. Here's the big question. Do I think it's worth it? If Epic Vape hadn't sent this bad boy to me to review for you guys, would I have purchased it? And the answer is hell yes. The price point, 130 bucks for this mechanical mod. I think it's a great price point for a high-end mechanical mod, especially with the features it has. And I also want to clarify this. When I say would I have purchased this device, I say that meaning just like you guys seeing online reviews, seeing the features this thing comes with, the price point, that's what I mean. And the answer is yes. If I hadn't used this ever and I saw this online at epicvape.com, had never purchased it, had never received it for free to review, I would have purchased this. That's what I mean, and that's what I mean with all these other products I review. So that being said, to wrap this sucker up, any mechanical mod user, mechanical mod junkie, or cloud chaser out there looking to buy a mechanical mod, you need to check this out, because this thing is stepping it up, baby. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.